industry around disputes. Thank you, sir.
Call Andrew Little.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I take this call on the Construction Contracts Amendment Bill and make this point, Mr Speaker, in light of the last speaker, is that what Jonathan Young has just said is actually a case for doing nothing in an area that is crying out for attention. And it is very easy to say this is all too hard, it's all too complex, that there's business risk wherever you look. But actually what is happening in this industry today is that good people and good businesses are being ripped off by the shysters, the snake oil salesmen, the shiny asses, if I could use that term, which is well known in the industry, who are not interested in a good quality industry, but are only interested in ripping people off. And the only challenge for this government, when considering this bill, is whether they have got the cojones to stand up to that type of conduct and do something meaningful that is going to be good for the trades and the tradespeople and the trades businesses and the small subcontractors who at the moment are victims of the ever rapacious corporate shysters who are operating in this industry day in and day out. There is only one rule that counts, and it's not about the business and about business risk. It is called the Golden Rule, and it is very simple. Who has the gold makes the rules. And that party, if any of them knows it, because they live it and breathe it every day, who has the gold makes the rules. And Tauhenara has woken up now because he understands that rule. If you got the money, if you got the dosh, you decide what happens. That's what it comes down to. And that's why small business people, the tradespeople who work their guts out, who work to get their trade, go off and set up their little business because they want to slice the action and they want to help out and they want to do good things. They love their craft, they love their trade, they love making stuff, especially when it's a building. They like to know that what they're doing is helping business or helping families, and they go into business and they cannot get paid the contracted price. That's what's happening. And when we have a look at Mainzeal is a symptom of a bigger problem. A business, a giant corporate business run by shysters. The directors, we know, National Party acolytes from way back, and they care not what happens. Care not what happens to the small man. Don't care what happens to the little man. And I, in name and in deed, I stand for the little bloke. That's me. And that's what the Labor Party is. That's right, they call Mr. Little for the little man. That's what they call me. And not just across New Zealand, but in Taranaki especially. And in fact, it was only yesterday I received a letter from a Wanganui businessman who at the age of 23 went out, set up his own business, got his trade. At the age of 23, went out and set up his own construction-related business, has done very well. But the big complaint, he says, is when it's time to send the invoice and get paid, what do the big ones do, the big construction companies do? They say, oh no. And they'll nitpick and they'll fiddle around and they'll fiddle-faddle and they'll fudge and they'll mudge and they'll say, oh no, we're not going to pay the full price because you were 1 hour overdue or because you didn't use this particular material. Never mind that the job is perfectly good quality job. Never mind that he and his employees have put their heart and soul into it and got the job done. They will fiddle-faddle around and nickel and dime it and try and squeeze down the price. And he knows, because he's got to pay his staff and he's got to pay his bills, he wants to get the cash as quickly as possible, and so he is forced, compelled, stood over to discount the job just so he can get the cash going. That's how the industry operates. And we are left wondering whether there is anything in this bill that is actually going to fix that problem. More adjudication in the existing system is not going to help that problem. What needs to happen is that the control needs to be taken over of the cash for the job, so it's held independently, and so that if there is a dispute, the owner of the job or the developer or the head contractor doesn't have an interest in holding on to the cash for as long as possible, because they won't have it. And likewise, if there is a genuine dispute over the quality of the work, let the holder of the cash, an escrow account holder or a trustee holder, let them determine it. They have no interest in holding on to the cash unnecessarily, and let them become the referee. That's what the Labor Party is proposing. Now, we will vote we will vote for the bill to get it in front of a select committee so we can have this debate, so we can call in the businessmen from Wanganui and all the small business people, the little people who I represent. We will call them all in to let them have their say, be part of that debate. Let's hear from them what they want to see happen so that they can get access to the cash that is properly owed them, so that when they tender for a job with an acceptable margin on it and employ people as a result with confidence they're going to get paid for this job, that they're not then held over the barrel and have to negotiate after the job is done from a position of weakness because they've got shysters and shonky head contractors who operate in this business as they do at the moment. That's the answer to the problem. Follow the money, follow the golden rule. Who has the gold rules? Hand over contract of the gold, of the cash for the job, to an independent party. If the developers are bold enough to enter contracts and get into the job, it means they've got the credit lines open, it means they've got their money sorted out, where they can draw down on their credit lines and place it into an escrow account, let the job get done, and then if there's an argument, let's have an argument with a genuinely independent third party who has got the control of the cash and who can make sensible decisions in the interest not only of the developer or the owner or the head contractor, but also of the subbie as well. The thing about the Labor Party is we want to see good business. The members on the other side, they always talk about us not being the party of business. We are a party of business. The difference is we are the party of ethical business, of good business. We are not opposed to the market, but we reserve our right to criticise bad practices in the market. And in the construction industry at the moment, it is full of bad and shonky practices. And we want legislation that's going to address that, and that's going to give the little guy a chance to get into their business, get started, know and enter contracts with confidence and reliably understanding and knowing and being sure that they're going to get paid at the end of it, paid a fair price for the work they do. That will help to give confidence in the industry. It will help to lift quality in the industry, and nothing less than that is needed. We've had the experience, and up to 1987, when the then Labor government changed the law at the time, we've had the experience of the contractors' lien and the lien over work and over labour. It was honoured in its breach, and head contractors were meant to reserve a part of the construction price and keep it aside. In reality, it simply became a cheap way of head contractors funding their own cash flow, and it didn't work. And many subcontractors were critical of it at the time. It's funny how many of them are not so critical today, but actually it was a provision in the old 1947 legislation, I think it was, that simply was not utilised extensively and was, if anything, honoured in its breach. And so it was repealed at the time. It was thought it was a good idea. We in our party have revisited that, and we know still their problems exist and something needs to be done about it. And having a piece of legislation as this does that adds to or creates some special avenues in relation to adjudicating disputes does not go far enough in our view. But we have a construction minister who at least appears to be open to new ideas, less so on plumbers and gas fitters we see, but perhaps when it comes to the broader construction industry, he may be open to more radical ideas. And let's face it, the construction minister is a man of radical ideas. He doesn't get them through his own caucus very often, but here is an occasion in which he's got the bill up this far, and he may well be open to ideas that are actually going to help the small players in the industry, help the small subcontractors, make a difference, keep the cash flowing, keep people in work, and this at a time when our construction industry needs every bit of help they can get in terms of a good quality regulatory framework. We have massive construction now underway in Christchurch, construction now picking up out of Auckland and picking up across the country, but the businesses, the enterprises and the workers in the industry need to know that this House takes seriously about having in place a regulatory framework that will keep the cash flowing, give integrity to the system, give people confidence so that we can all proceed to know that we have a construction industry that is good for the economy at large.
Call Julianne Genter.
Tēnā koe, Mr. Speaker.